But thanks to some high tides that bring the most unbelievable, gruesome, and massive creatures out of the oceans to the beaches for us to ponder over. Hold on to see the terrifying discoveries made by scientists on a beach that will change your opinion of the oceans. Mermaid sighting. The most controversial creature whose existence could neither be denied nor accepted has sparked the internet again, since a video showing a beached marine human is quickly going viral. With an unconfirmed location, this odd-looking creature lying on the beach was still alive and moving its limbs and fins. Even though it looked like a mermaid, some suggested that it was a large fish that tried to swallow a child. At first, it was thought to be discovered in Kenya, but according to the local authorities, no such incident was reported, and it was claimed to be an altered one. The scientists have also strongly rejected the mermaid's existence. Rotting croc. With its aggressive looks and blown-up body, this 16-feet-long maggot-infested crocodile is not an everyday finding. A family, while enjoying a picnic at the shoreline near West New Britain, was amazed to discover a bloated creature lying on the sand. At first, it was assumed to be a wood sculpture, but upon getting closer to it, it turned out to be the body of a large reptile that might have died 2 weeks ago, and now hundreds of grubs were spilling out of its body. Although the saltwater crocs are known to be dangerous, here this prehistoric monster was just lying on the sand to provide a glimpse into its past. Mythical sea serpent. A 15-foot-long earthquake, Cassandra, spooked the locals of Bhutan City after it was pushed by strong waves to the shore. The monster oarfish was thought to be alive and breathing when spotted, however, died afterward. Although it was a rare and unique sighting for scientists, locals were not very happy to see it, as for them, the giant fish was a bad omen. So instead of reporting the local authorities, they decided to get rid of the unlucky sea serpent by tearing it apart and burying its remains. Odd-looking monster. While taking his dogs for a walk on a beach in England, a man stumbled across a massive carcass that looked like a giant animal in the worst state of decomposition. Many of its bones seemed to have been cut. However, its legs were detectable, and a few rib bones were visibly piercing its body. Although the corpse had no smell, no creatures, including his dogs, were interested in feasting on this huge slab of meat. At first, it was thought to be dumped cattle, but since the carcass was badly decaying, it is still an unknown creature, and how this odd-looking monster arrived on the beach is also a mystery. Mysterious sphere. Now, here we have another sea oddity whose presence has not just baffled the beachgoers, but also the scientists who have not seen such a strange thing before. A video posted in June 2012 shows a massive round object that almost looked like a huge rock, but since it was stinking, many speculated it could be the rotting remains of any sea mammal, but still, they aren't quite sure about it. Although it was not the very first time a mysterious object washed up on the beach, this ambiguous object was speculated to be some extraterrestrial, whose exact identification is still a challenge for scientists. Weird carcass. Researchers can sometimes identify the washed-up creatures, but the other times they always remain a mystery. Just like this weird carcass. Snouted mouth with pointed teeth like a canine on a terrifying head, attached to a pale, skinny body, which in turn was linked to two thin claws bearing long legs. This really looked like a hybrid between different animals, as it couldn't be compared to just one or two living organisms. Could it be the result of some failed scientific experiments, or creatures like this really do exist? I am not sure about it. But thankfully, it was not alive, because I don't want to imagine the horrors of seeing this creature alive. Unidentified carcass. Ocean currents never disappoint the world by sending some of the most strange creatures on the sandy beaches. As for now, another mysterious creature has puzzled the scientists whose body was found rotting on the rocks of Karlova Island near the Mexican coast of Baja. The carcass was found in such a bad state of decomposition that it was impossible for the lookers to identify it, although it looked like a common relative of a dragon and crocodile. Looking at the haunting appearance, many believe that the specimen could be someone from the other planet. However, the exact identification is still a mystery, as despite the footage being shared online, no scientific team can recognize it. Before we move any further, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you can keep watching our amazing content. Dead whale with a swollen tongue. A giant red balloon attached to a huge whale. This is literally an unbelievable sight that was observed by the locals of Ireland in November 2015. At first, the large red object floating in the sea was assumed to be a red buoy or an overturned boat. But when the mystery object was brought to the shore, it turned out to be a 42-foot-long juvenile whale carcass with an extremely swollen red tongue that stuck out its mouth like a half-sized giant red balloon. According to the experts, the tongue was swollen after the whale died and was pushed out by the gases inside and ended up so far from its body. Alien mermaid. Now, this is exactly what we call nightmarish stuff. A small cyclops humanoid body with pointed spikes on its back and limbs like that of a marine animal was found in Australia on a secluded beach. Most of the time, odd-looking creatures like this are dead when found, but this eerie figure was still alive and moving, which makes it even more mysterious. It was almost impossible to identify it as a marine or land animal, because according to the sources, this hybrid of an alien and a mermaid was quickly transferred to the research center where it is still under observation, and nothing much is revealed about it. 300 dead whales. What looked like an apocalyptic sight was recorded a few years back when more than 300 dead whales washed ashore on the Chilean coast. This was believed to be one of the largest mass strandings. In fact, for marine biologists, it was the worst and most horrific sighting ever recorded. The massive carcasses of sea whales measuring from 10 to 16 feet were found in an extremely remote region, some 2,000 kilometers south of the capital, Santiago. Since the discovery was made, scientists have been collecting samples to reach the actual cause of death. Although a fatal virus in the water is believed to be the reason, still, experts are unsure about the massive loss of these endangered species. Prehistoric monster. Forget all the chatter about exploring whales or sharks on the beaches. Look at this bizarre-looking denizen that was discovered partially buried under the sands of the coast in New Jersey. The diamond-shaped cones arranged on the 8-feet-long, scaly, rocky body of the strange creature makes it look like some prehistoric life form, but scientists were confused to see the strange remains. Most of them were suspecting it to be a new species, and even a few claimed it to be an oceanic chupacabra, or perhaps a horned sea monster. However, after deeply analyzing the specimen, the scientific community declared that it was a dead sturgeon, although they are still not sure about it. Decaying stingray. Every year, the ocean washes up many unusual items that often can't be explained at first until a close view is taken. In August 2010, a family, while enjoying a day out on a beach, stumbled upon a strange creature. An almost decomposed body with bat-like wings and a bony structure with sticky remains of flesh was found partially buried under the sand of shallow water. With more than 80% of its decomposed body, the creature was identified as a stingray. Commonly, stingrays come to the surface in search of food and bury themselves in the sand. So this one might have died due to suffocation while burying itself in the sand. Birdie's whale. Another whale grabbed the attention of beachgoers in July 2017 after its massive body was found dead on the shore of Phuket Island. The 65-feet-long female marine mammal was identified as a Birdie's whale and was thought to have died 3 weeks before its discovery, as the body was already decomposed. Apparently, it was thought to have died of a natural cause, but experts were not sure to declare anything about the actual cause of death. Tissue and bone samples were collected and taken to the laboratory to determine the cause of the death of the mammal, while the remains were buried under the sand to avoid any contamination. Dolphin with its fetus. In November 2008, a team, while collecting samples from the beach dolphins in Florida, found a small baby dolphin lying at some distance from its mother. Although dolphin strandings are common on beaches, this was for the very first time that a marine mammal was found with its fetus. After initial analysis, it was thought to transfer the mother. Kid duo to a lab for carrying out a detailed necropsy to learn more about the exact reason of their death. Huge oarfish. Not every time a dead one, but this time a living peculiarity of the ocean shocked the beachgoers in Mexico. This happened almost a decade back when a crazy oarfish decided to surprise the beach visitors by offering them a rare sight. With its long, flattened, ribbon-like body, the deep sea monster swam to the surface and tried to interact directly with the land creatures, who were already in shock to see the silvery serpent in shallow waters. Although it was less active, no apparent injury was noticed on its body, and after remaining in view for a few minutes, it swam back to its deep habitat. Giant Pacific octopus. Rescuing beached mammals is very common, but finding a suffocating octopus and keeping it alive is not an everyday sight. A few days ago, a family, while visiting a beach in Washington, spotted a huge, soft-bodied, 8-limbed mollusk twisting around on a mudflat. Since it was dangerous to touch it, so they decided to keep it alive by pouring water on it until the rescue team arrived. Finally, the octopus was declared healthy, after which it was placed carefully inside a box that was dragged through the sticky mud to release the stranded creature back to its ocean. Thousands of dead squids. An enigmatic condition caused quite a stir in San Diego when thousands of bodies of deep-sea creatures were mysteriously found on the shore. The apocalyptic sight was observed in September 2011, when a group of beachgoers was shocked to see huge water tides sending hundreds of squids to the beach, some of which were already dead and a few were dying. So it was decided to throw them back into the water, but they kept washing back up. No one was sure about these strange strandings. However, experts believe that the presence of toxic algae could cause them to become fatally ill and beach themselves. Dead porpoise. While collecting some photos of the beautiful beach in San Francisco, a man noticed a small mammal resting on the rocky shore. At first, he thought it was a dolphin, but upon getting closer to it, the lying body became less and less like a dolphin. Without a well-defined snout and a small mouth, the mammal was thought to be the harbor porpoise. Since porpoises are among the top predators, this one is believed to die of natural death in the ocean, after which its fully intact lifeless body was brought to the shore by strong wind currents. Beached whale died. A heartbreaking discovery was made in 2009 when a huge Birdie's whale became stranded on Cairns Beach. After seeing the massive mammal alive on the shore, a team of rescuers quickly came into action and tried to keep the whale hydrated by covering it with wet clothes and pouring water on its body. But unfortunately, the distressed mammal couldn't make it to survive for long and died afterwards. Initially, the cause of its mysterious stranding was unknown, but after a necropsy, the whale's stomach was found tightly packed with several meters of plastic bags, which were thought to be the cause of its death. Piles of dead prawns. Golden, sandy beaches all covered in red, just like a sight from enormous death strandings. This grisly scene from the shrimp-coated shores sparked concern among the authorities in 2013 when hundreds of thousands of red prawns washed up on the Chilean beach. Investigations were carried out to find what might have caused these Dublin Bay prawns, as it was for the very first time that such massive strandings were observed. Initially, an environmental crime was believed to be the reason, but the presence of viruses, oil exploration, or poisoning food sources were also included in the list of the crime factors. Eerie mammal. With a long, hollow jawline lacking pointed teeth and a few of its bones tearing up its bloated body, it looks like an eerie creature whose days of terrorizing other creatures are over. A 7-feet-long carcass of an unidentified creature shocked the Indian authorities after it washed ashore at a beach in Rameswaram. The brownish, bloated body was first discovered by a fisherman, who quickly informed the local authorities. Although the carcass was almost decomposed, they were able to identify it as an Indo-Pacific finless porpoise, which was thought to have died due to a predatory attack. And the body was delivered to the sandy shore by ocean currents. Rare sea hare. Here is another squish out of the water. Just have a look at this slimy, slithery mass of meat crawling eerily on the sands of the beach. Filmed at an unknown location, the black greasy object, though, looked like an alien. It was actually a rare sea hare that was spotted wriggling on the beach and was later released back to the ocean. Marine mutant. It looks like the extraterrestrials are emerging from the sea. This alien-looking sea creature sparked fear among the beachgoers after it washed up on a beach in Thailand. The 5-inch-long creature with a mini snout was spotted jiggling on the sand with its pinkish, rubbery body. The guy who found it claimed it was a marine mutant, as many tries were made to put it back into the water. But it kept trying to escape the wet habitat and was holding itself out of the water to breathe air. Although the footage of this bizarre-looking creature has been shared so many times, the scientific community is still unable to identify it. Alien fish. Another alien-looking creature made an appearance on the internet after a guy found a strange, creepy animal somewhere on the shores of Jordan Creek. With the grayish, slimy body and a mouth full of wicked-looking teeth, the creature was identified as a sea lamprey and was estimated to be 3 feet long. Since it was not a good idea to hold this parasitic alien-looking fish, it was decided to release it back because it was already struggling hard to get itself free. Dead beached worms. Are these some other extraterrestrial beings or just the hidden ropes? Well, this video was actually filmed in June 2021 at South Wales Beach, when people were baffled to see numerous long worms covering the sandy coastal lines. Measuring several feet in length, these worms were generally thought to be very difficult to catch, but here the beach was found infested with the dead worms. Excessive use of herbicide spray was blamed for the massive stranding,